All right, peace. It's Bronzebird here with another video. Before I begin, like and subscribe. Thank you. So, digging into more of my assessment of what's been going on recently with the late rapper Takeoff from the Migos, a lot of this conversation about the black on black crime starts to come into prominence, and people have this debate about how we need to stop killing each other. And the only thing that mirrors in my mind is so-called black men need to do a better job of, you know, uh, standing on what is it that they believe, and stop switching the map as soon as somebody they know close to them dies, right? So I just find it ironic about how the same people that do not like black on black crime or black on black violence are the same ones that are participate daily in conversations about gang life. So it's just funny to me that dudes want to talk about the street life ain't this and the street life ain't that. Look, I've had personal conversations with brothers around me about the street life, known about some of these gangs and known about certain stuff like that, the product of your environment and all these different things, and whoop de woo, blase blah. I understand it. So-called black men, and I need to address this to the older so-called black men, because y'all are the ones that know right from wrong. So it doesn't surprise me certain brothers want to be able to get on camera and talk all this shit about street life ain't doing this and we need to do better and da da da, come together, this kumbaya blase blah nonsense. But the other week you had no problem talking shit about another so-called black man, and then now this week, now you want to be in tears, or you want to be all sympathetic and stuff like that because a brother like Takeoff died from an alleged dice game, right? So I mean, it's so hypocritical how brothers will change up their speech when a brother like Takeoff dies, with the whole entire black on black narrative that's being driven right now. And if you don't know why I'm saying narrative, it's because it's pretty clear that in the video, prediction of death usually happens with a lot of these artists that's out there, a lot of these sports athletes and all these different things. And if you don't like it, it's fine. But otherwise than that, it doesn't, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. Um, but just putting in perspective that he actually did die from this seamless black on black violence. The thing about it is, don't try to switch up your speech now, brother. Stay exactly where you stand. You were a dude that wants to be involved in a gang culture. You are involved in a gang culture. Now all of a sudden you want to switch your speech because some dude that died. That's why I tell brothers, stand on your shit. Don't try to sit here and change how you feel now. So I'm going to show you a couple of videos of what I'm talking about. And of course, it probably features one of the beloved dudes you already know about, that speaks all hard and speaks all gangster every day out his goddamn mouth. And that brother is trying to be some fake little activist on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, any social media, any plug that he thinks that he's doing something for the so-called black community. Man, give it a rest. Give it a rest. You ain't surprising nobody. So this is the first video. Pete.
Them situations, and I know a lot of this shit, a lot of y'all that don't come from that bullshit ass life, but it's a bullshit life. Street life is a bullshit life. It ain't nothing to glorify. Some bullshit. If you got a nigga that's shooting dice and he might have did something wrong and he might have tried to buck and niggas like, man, get up out of here. Anybody that didn't leave with him is the enemy.
And my thing about it is, I like, obviously we know about the dice games, right? Dice games is essential to so-called black men, playing dice and stuff like that. We know all about that, playing dice, getting money and all this other stuff. We know that. It's been popularized in the culture, the music culture, and all these different things. But I find it funny with someone like Whack 100 that now wants to say street life is a BS life, when the brother has been known for having conversations, whether you're talking about Clubhouse, doing an interview with that culture vulture, 22 Jumper, apparently, which he also features another little Crip member that's walking around with a little strange high pitched voice and talking about, I'm Crippin', nigga, like that guy, right? Whack 100 has no seat at the table when talking about these conversations because he's full of shit too. And I bet for a second he's gonna forget all about this situation. It'll blow over for the next couple of days, and then everything will go back to normal. There will be no progress made to the beloved so-called Black community about how so-called Black men need to change the paradigm about how they act towards each other when it comes to crime, violence, and not agreeing with each other. So the problem is with so-called Black men, there is no unification, right? There is no men trying to really come together. I mean, you have organizations across the globe that may actually want to do something, but Whack 100 is not one of those men that really want to make change. He's just talking. A lot of these dudes that talk all this shit and you previously come from a gang culture, you're just talking because you're probably still involved in it.
So when he come back and he see that crowd, he don't give a fuck who he get out on.
Whack is Rachel.
Yo,
Did
up,
anybody read what an eyewitness said?
Nah, I didn't read that. I just talked to bro.
Rachel, go for it.
It said,
Okay.
so Quavo was shooting dice and he was getting his pockets broke off bad. So dude had an attitude and he tried getting aggressive with the wrong mob ties. Nigga, not gonna drop names. And dude got on his ass. Then somebody they was with jumped up, and that's when everybody bunched up. Then shots just started ringing, but they were coming from somebody Migos was with. But he
And my thing about that is, it is a usual point. I'm not surprised by the stories such as this, where dudes might be losing out on a dice game and they lose their cool to the point they want to shoot somebody. I mean, I've heard things like dudes have been shot for $5 over a dice game. But if you're really paying attention, certain things do not add up. It doesn't. To the point that a guy is really going to lose his kill or want to kill you. I mean, if it's a significant amount of money that's being lost, even still, even a man of priority and a man who understands himself is not going to get all mad about a dice game, about dealing, about gambling. And in gambling in general, when you have that money being put on a pedestal, you'll do anything to get that way, even if you need to steal it back. So, I mean, understanding this story, as much as it seems as if right now, number one, it doesn't add up. And number two, people get into gambling, you need to understand you may risk it all. You may risk some, you may risk it all, you may risk nothing. So, you take it in stride. You either participate or you don't participate in it. But let's continue.
he was shooting wild and hit Takeoff on accident, and the other niggas start shooting back. And I think he got shot again, but ultimately his own niggas killed him because when he got hit the first time, I seen his body just drop.
So you see how this doesn't make sense already? They shot him on accident, but then it was his own dudes that wanted to take his own life. Like, recognizing this, there was always these narratives that's being driven when someone is being ritualistically removed. There's always going to be things in that story that does not make sense. You understand? This over a dice game. Now, I know people online that sit up there and say that this is quote unquote nigga shit, but even you have to start smelling the Folgers and being like, something just does not sit right. His men, his own fam, his own peeps really wanted to shoot him in a dice game. Like, this was all planned and like all just thought out before this happened. It was by an accident, but it wasn't by an accident, according to the eyewitness that was there.
Quavo was plexed up over some small shit. It really wasn't worth it. Takeoff was the coolest, quietest nigga in the room the whole time.
Now back that up.
Was the coolest, quiet. It really wasn't worth it. Quavo was plexed up over some small shit. It really wasn't worth it. Takeoff was the coolest, quietest nigga in the room the whole.
Now reference. Remember when I did the recent video talking about the Quavo and Takeoff situation? Quavo, they're saying that Quavo was the loudest and Takeoff was rather reserved. Now, if you look in the video, now watch the video and then reference the points that I'm making. If you look in the video, Quavo seems to have more of the dominant stance in the video than Takeoff.